Stewart, and I'm the president and owner of Syntax Strategic. I am joined today by Catherine Clark, who's the president and owner of Catherine Clark Communications and a key associate with us at Syntax Strategic. So Catherine, we've been working on a number of files together since COVID hit. In your opinion, how has communications changed since this pandemic?
Well, communications has really changed everything. I think we've both seen, Jen, that working with a variety of clients, communications is completely essential to how they are marketing themselves, how they are focusing their messages during this time, because people are hyper focused on what they're hearing from companies, from individuals, from governments. And you really have to have a targeted message, and you have to be honest and forthright and keep repeating it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think authenticity, particularly now, is huge. What can companies learn from COVID? It's a bit of a strange question, but what can they take away and apply to their communications practices?
I think that that's a really interesting question, because one of the things that we've seen with the clients we're working with is that not only has this had, in some cases, devastating impacts on them, but they're also seeing real opportunities that they might not have considered if they hadn't been forced into this position. One of the key things is a crisis communications plan. If you don't have a crisis communications plan, this is put into stark relief that you really need one. It's an integral part of your path moving forward as an organization. Also, just that you have to have your key messages, and you have to know how to say them effectively and, like you said, authentically. The people who've communicated best during this crisis are the ones who are really authentic in how they've communicated, and they've built a lot of trust because of it.
No, I think absolutely. And I think people aren't expecting perfection right now, but they're expecting transparency. They're expecting authenticity, and they're expecting that you communicate, right? I don't think the tactic of being silent during these times, bodes well for an organization.
I don't think it bodes well for an organization ever to be silent in the face of crisis. But it also, it behooves an organization to give some thought in advance to how they would respond in the worst case scenarios. And also remember to think about how they want to be communicated to. I mean, what do you trust? Who do you trust? Who communicates really well? And then model your own approach after that too.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it really drives home the fact that communications belongs in the C-suite. It's not a tweet or an isolated social media campaign. It truly needs to be nimble, it needs to be strategic, and it needs to align with your business objectives. And then to your point, also, who are your audiences and what's the best way to communicate to them? And I think, if there is a silver lining for communications experts during this pandemic, it's really that your job is important, and how you communicate is paramount to your brand and how people perceive your organization.
Yeah, I think that's the end and most important point, isn't it? That communications isn't just a nice to have, it's a need to have. And it can really make or break your company.
I completely agree. Well, thanks, Catherine. It's great chatting with you. We'll chat soon.
Great chatting with you too.
Take care.